Hey there, YouTube viewers. Rosie the Rose Girl here, and I wanted to record something that I basically posted on my blog about a year ago, and it concerns basically something that I've been thinking of for quite a while now, actually, and I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of like a rant, basically, but it's not as doomy or gloomy as some of my other videos, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm fully aware that the world is changing. We are a country in turmoil, basically. Obviously, with some of the things that have happened just in the past week, you can see that. It seems that every week or every other week there's another story about another cop who killed another black person, and they don't have charges brought against them, and the whole city or the cities where it happened erupt in protests, riots, and violence. Hollywood doesn't have an original bone in its body because they go after movies that have already been made and released, and they remake them. And the hate that the new Ghostbusters movie is getting is a prime example of that. I myself don't plan to see it. They anger the fans of the original films because all we can think of is basically, well, what was wrong with the original one? Music is ever changing, and nonsensical idiots with no real talent or creativity are today's icons. And, you know, when we see these quote unquote icons, all I can think of is, where's the talent? You know, some of these people are highly regarded musicians, and some of them do indeed have talent. Adele is a wonderful artist. I'm not a fan of hers, but she's a very talented singer. Alicia Keys, very talented musician. Janelle Monáe, very talented singer and dancer. Bruno Mars, I am a fan of, and he's very talented as well. But for most of my music, I listen to classic rock, I listen to some of today's rock, and I'm into K-pop. And I might make a video of why I'm into K-pop in another week or two, hopefully. But what I'm getting at is, what about us? What about my generation? The forgotten kids of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Why are we the forgotten ones whose opinions no longer matter? Why are the things we love being seen as obsolete and useless? We were once the voice of our country, and now we no longer matter, and trust me, it does hurt. We have come to watch MTV and then VH1 go from music video channels to reality TV channels. I still remember when the first Real World in New York premiered on MTV. I pretty much just brushed it off and watched it because it was an entertaining idea at first. Besides that, two of the people on the show were musicians. There was a rocker and a rapper, so I thought it was no big deal. Oh, but it was a big deal. Who knew that the Real World would turn into Jersey Shore, Teen Mom, and other stupid shows that today's youth chooses to watch? I eventually left MTV for VH1 when my rock videos were left out to hang in favor of hip-hop and boy bands. The next thing I know, VH1 only shows videos in the very early morning hours, and we are left with hip-hop wives and basketball wives. Whenever they show a new Behind the Music, there are no longer rock episodes, but frickin' hip-hop. If I want to watch a rock-oriented documentary, I have to go to VH1 Classic and watch Behind the Music Remastered. And it's really heartbreaking, but thank God for VH1 Classic on digital cable. Why won't MTV make a channel geared toward the generation that made them? Why not have MTV 1980s and MTV 1990s channels? Why not have VJs who would love to host shows dedicated to the 80s and 90s generations? I mean, forgive me for thinking that we still matter, but we have very few places to turn anymore. We are not some old fogies who just faded away and ceased to exist once the century changed. Damn it, we're still here. On Facebook and VH1 Classics, that metal show, which was recently taken away from us, thank you VH1 Classic, I got to hear about the bands I know and love and how they're still touring and making music. I got to hear about the bands I came up with doing Monsters of Rock, Rocklahoma, and the M3 Festival. I also got to hear about certain bands that have lost beloved band members and what they did in tribute. A lot of my favorite bands are slowly but surely dying off or retiring. I think we need some channels dedicated to them to keep their legacy and music alive. But sadly, that metal show, like I said, was recently canceled. What the hell? Why? I mean, it was a popular show, especially among us metal fans. We followed the show religiously if we could, and we loved the show. Why was it taken away from us? And what about New Wave? Thankfully, VH1 Classic still shows those old videos, but it's not 24/7. They show concerts, movies, and other television shows. And sure, those shows matter, and the movies tend to be classics sometimes. But what about the 24-hour music and news? Sponsors would come from somewhere if the lazies would take the time to seek them out, and viewers will be found. I know I'd watch. And not just the music, but the cartoons as well. On Boomerang, they used to show stuff like Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear and Magilla Gorilla, Top Cat, Hong Kong Phooey, just Richie Rich, just different stuff. They used to show all kinds of different shows, the Snorks, the Smurfs, and they're bringing in shows now like the Looney Tunes show and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, I think. And they're bringing in shows like Wabbit and Be Cool Scooby-Doo. I think that's what that show's called, the new Scooby-Doo, which I really actually like that. I don't like Wabbit at all, but I do like Be Cool Scooby-Doo. But it's like their saying used to be, it's all coming back to you. But what's coming back to us except for the Looney Tunes, Garfield, which is a recent show, and it's not Garfield and Friends, mind you, it's the new Garfield, computer generated CGI Garfield. And what else do they show? Tom and Jerry, and the Tom and Jerry show, which is a fairly recent show also. And it's like, what about those old cartoons that we used to like? Yeah, I still watch that stuff. And I still want to feel like I matter, and not just at 2 or 3 a.m. But back to the music, I feel like the bands that we know and love are being forgotten, especially by the mainstream. And they shouldn't be, because they set the standard for a lot of today's bands. Give those bands a place to perform live. Give them a place to turn when they have tribute shows, charity events, and other such things. Don't turn them away in favor of shows glorifying teen pregnancy and glamorizing a lifestyle that my generation is trying to keep our children from going into. Also, we could embrace the new bands trying to keep the genre of heavy metal alive. Bands like Black Veil Brides, Five Finger Death Punch, and Avenged Sevenfold can be welcomed in with the likes of Slaughter, Poison, Faster Pussycat, Motley Crue, Kiss, and Pretty Boy Floyd. I think it would be a good thing to give us some channels to go to when we want to look back on the good times We do still watch television, and we do wax nostalgic every so often. CDs, cassettes, vinyls, those things were pretty much taken from us with the advent of digital media. Why do our videos have to be taken from us too? What about my generation, man? Do we not matter anymore, or have we ceased to exist in the eyes of those we used to be so important to? Yeah, I know they're trying to steal our children away with more venomous movies, music, and television. Some parents blindly let their children follow on those paths. Others, though, we tell our children how it used to be, and we try to lead them away from that, which could ultimately harm them. So I say again, what about our generation? You use us to vote. Why not entertain us too? And also, while I'm at it, there are things that happen in Las Vegas, such as the Hair Metal Music Awards. And you could televise that and bring it to us, because we would watch it. A lot of us that cannot make it out to Las Vegas to go to that award show in person, we would like to see it. We would like to watch it. I mean, we don't have the VMAs anymore to watch bands like Van Halen and Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Poison and Slaughter and all those bands. We don't have award shows to watch them perform live anymore. They're basically just nostalgia. And people have to go out on the road. They have to raise thousands of dollars, and they have to go on cruises and hit the road and take planes and stuff just to see their favorite bands, when we used to be able to see them from the comfort of our living rooms. And it's being taken away from us. Why? So, yeah, those are my thoughts. They still matter to us, and we should still matter to the media. But I guess everything's money now. Everything's bank. Cha-ching, right? Well, that's the end of my rant. So you guys be blessed, and I will see you on the next upload. Bye.